Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
I believe we are now finally live, better late than never. Sorry for the false start earlier this evening. We were not firing on all channels, but I think we are in business now. So thank you for your patience and glad everyone is here tonight. We do have a lot to share with you. Charlie Kirk, the story continues, the investigation. I've been posting updates through the day on our X account. The day began with a news conference, an announcement from President Trump on Fox stating that they have a suspect in custody. They think they have Charlie Kirk's killer in hand. And then, of course, the fighting continued all day. It has been ongoing since his killing or assassination. In fact, the fighting has been going on for years. And we'll talk about that tonight as well. NATO sending a warning to Russia as troops amass in something of a standoff along the Belarus border. We have as well Pierre Poilievre tonight saying that when it comes to political violence and the current political environment, this environment of, I would say, even war, he worries about his family's safety. And that is a statement just coming out a short time ago today. So we'll show you what that's all about as well. But mostly it's the Charlie Kirk stuff. And we'll bring you up to date on that. We'll tell you what we know about the suspect, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. And we'll show you what is happening at a big vigil over in London, England. So stay with me. We have a lot to unpack tonight, not the least of which is our Friday Maverick Midnight Matinee. Tonight's feature presentation, I will reveal on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so first up, before we get into all the details on who Tyler Robinson is, I'll show you how the day began. And it began with President Trump over on Fox and Friends talking about the apprehension of this 22-year-old who seemed to have a pretty solid upbringing, sort of a regular vanilla white picket fence kind of all-American childhood, and now he's in custody and maybe facing the death penalty.
I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody, right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor, everybody did a great job. You know, getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there. And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days. You know, it's amazing, actually, when you start off with that and then all of a sudden you get lucky or talent or whatever it is. But, yeah, I think we're in great shape.
Mr.
And
President,
he's in custody.
your suspicion was that he was radical left, and now you have more information. What can you share with us about his ideology?
Yeah, Lawrence, let me just, and by the way, Lawrence is doing a good job. What's going on?
Fantastic job, yeah.
Mr.
I'll tell you what, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
I said you were going to do well. Yeah, I think that I don't want to go too far. I'd like to tell you some stories at how it happened, but essentially somebody that was very close to him turned him in. And that happens when you had some of those good shots. Somebody is going to say, whether it's a parent or whatever, I'd rather not say right now. They're going to announce it today, sometime later, probably talk about that. But somebody close to him turned him, you know, they said, whoa. It's interesting where we had very good pictures, but not great, not perfect. And when you look at it, what happened is somebody, and this happens a lot. It happened with the crazy Boston bomber. It happened with others. Somebody that's close recognizes even a little tilt of the head, which nobody else would do. And somebody that was very close to him said, that's him. And essentially went to the father, went to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way. And the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister. And brought him to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic. And the father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but you know, I'm just giving you, based on what I'm hearing, they'll give you a much more active. I just heard about it 5 minutes before I walked in. As I'm walking in, they said, looking real good. They have the person that they wanted. So,
and that's the way the day began. That video, I think, will echo through history. It will just be one of the elements that will make up the fabric of the history that will shape the perspective that people have of the United States in the decades ahead. It's just one of those moments. That's the way today began. And then we have the news conference, which I picked up live and carried on our X or Twitter feed this morning. Audio a little low here. I apologize for that. Nothing I can do. I'll give you all the gain that I can. And let's get it cranked up here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
If I can.
At today's press conference, we will hear
This
from
computer is just jumping around and not letting me bring the audio up.
And Sheriff Mike Smith.
I don't know why. Hang on. Let me take a little break, and I'll be back in just a moment while I try to fix this audio issue.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, here we go. It should be fixed. And the first words at this news conference as well.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At today's press conference, we will hear from Governor Cox, FBI Director Kash Patel.
And I
and
apologize
Sheriff
for the
Mike
low audio, but it's there.
We also have with us Utah DPS Commissioner Bo Mason,
And listen to the first words
Lieutenant
from the
Governor
first
Deidre
speaker
Henderson.
after the introduction.
FBI Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, and local and federal law enforcement partners. Following the remarks today, Governor Cox, Director Patel, and Commissioner Mason will take questions. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel.
Okay, so the whole news conference, this was from this morning, so I'm not going to stick with it. If you want to watch the whole thing, it is on our Twitter or X account for Maverick News, so you can check it out over there. I know the audio is low, so I don't want to let it roll too long, but you can see that, again, the beginning of the news conference, dramatic words, we got them. Those words will ring through history as well. Another milestone or landmark moment today as the investigation into the shooting or assassination of Charlie Kirk results in the arrest of 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Now, as a result of all of this, we are also seeing that we're getting more division instead of healing. That is for sure. Although tonight in England, in London, we are seeing huge crowds gather at Winston Churchill's statue with candles lit and many people coming out to honor Charlie Kirk's life. And a lot of this stuff, because of course he was a Christian, is being wrapped in Christianity. And as a result, it's not only political, it's also religious. So I'll just show you some of the clips from what's going on over there. Okay, here we go.
Christ is King! Christ is King! Be under no illusion. Meek and mild, turn the other cheek is over. Each and every one of you should be radicalized by what has happened. It is time to get organized and mobilized. Christ is King! 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 Christ is
So here's with the sun still up, jam packed at Westminster's Whitehall, and again, still a large crowd there. Some people trying to say that this is a diverse crowd, but I'm not sure diversity is the strength of what is on display here. I think maybe anger is on full display more so than diversity. And wait, there's more. Here we go. So this, of course, is happening because Turning Point was not just Turning Point USA, it was international in scope, including with a chapter in the UK. So they're saying this should radicalize people. In what way? What do they mean by radicalize? What do they want people to do? That this should radicalize us, he says.
Yeah,
So I don't know about you, but I have no desire to be radicalized. I'd like to keep my head screwed on straight, think rationally, and try to think for myself, not let emotions boil over, and so that I do radical things. I want to keep my head screwed on straight. That's just me.
Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King!
So this is the vigil still in London.
Christ is King! 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 Right, guys, we don't have the speaker or megaphone here, so I'm going to speak loudly. Christ! That's all I've got.
Charlie Kirk gets shot. We see social media influencers really around the world all start to, well, they immediately, wasn't even a moment of silence, immediately start using similar phrases, not the least of which is, "This is war." And I get concerned when I hear phrases like that, especially when it all seems to be coordinated in some way, or that there's just this real consistency in a way that gives you media frequency, which is something I'm very tuned into as someone who has studied and worked in media all my life. I know what a campaign looks like. I know how it works. And, some other people too kind of tuned into this. And some people are saying, and you can make your own assessment, that what we're seeing on social media around the world on a massive scale is not organic. This response to Charlie Kirk's death, a lot of people, not maybe like Melda, I think people tuned into how media works, are picking up on the fact that almost immediately we see swarms of influencers and leaders coming out with this message: this is war. Account after account, really calling for the same thing: division, fighting. And here are some examples to kind of illustrate the point. And it's similar messaging even from people who are sometimes even on opposite sides of the spectrum. This is war, libs of TikTok. Joey Manorino: the Democrat Party must be classified as a domestic terror organization, and their members, leaders treated accordingly. Enough is enough. Brian Eastwood: Charlie Kirk getting shot is the shot heard around the country. I'm ready for civil war. You want to fight, and you're going to get it. Oilfield Rando, not familiar, but he says, I don't want the National Guard sent to Democrat cities anymore. I want the Air Force sent. So what is it that we're being supposed to be radicalized against? Liberalism? People with other ideas? Just liberals. So we're going to go to war, I guess, with liberals. Sean Davis says, when Democrats lose elections, they couldn't steal. They murder the people they were unable to defeat. Okay. Ron Filipkowski: Trump issues a statement after Kirk's death, blaming the rhetoric of the radical left. And the president's address that particular one, that night, the night of the killing, I would say it in itself was divisive. You can be blinded by the emotions if you choose to, but no, it was divisive. It was not unifying. Gunther Eagleman says they've declared war. No, they're declaring war, so we have to be at war with them. Yeah, okay, no thanks. I don't really want escalation. I'm not looking for a war, a civil war. Thank you. I don't want to be radicalized. Other people may want to be, or certainly seem to be willing to be. I can't read and I'm reading these honestly for the first time. I just know it's a compilation. There's no going back after this. There's no more words to be said. The only way this ends is the complete annihilation of the Democrat Party. Okay, so no more civil discourse. Nobody's interested in free speech anymore. You just have to destroy the other side. Okay, let's not talk. Let's just kill people, I guess. I'm not into it. Matt Forney, Charlie Kirk being assassinated is the American Reichstag fire. In a way, I don't think that it's quite, the analogy is quite accurate. It is, they were trying to do this with Arena. What's her name? See, I can't, that's how serious it is in terms of like geopolitics. Arena, I can't pronounce. Arena. What's the last name? I'm sorry. I apologize. There's Zarutska. Is it Zarutska? Yes. Irina Zarutska. They were trying to do this with her. They were even saying that this is your George Floyd moment. No, Irina Zarutska was not the George Floyd moment. This is the George Floyd moment. This killing of Charlie Kirk. And keep in mind, Charlie Kirk is not an elected official. He's not a military general. He's not a president. He's not a vice president. He's not even, I don't even think he's a bureaucrat. He's a political activist. taking up the cause of the conservative side, Christians, I guess, sort of. But he's not a public servant in through government, or he's a political activist. George Floyd, in my view, didn't deserve to be put on the pedestal that he was put on. His funeral, they literally brought in like a white horse-drawn carriage. Anyway, this is political theater. And given the circumstances of this, it's so performative that I'm really finding it, at this point, it's just becoming, what's the right word? I'm going to have to think of the right word. If you have a suggestion on how to properly describe this, let me know in the chat. Patrick Casey, it's time to bring the hammer down on the left. Okay, I understand people being emotional, but this is not organic. This is being amplified. This is a coordinated media campaign in order to it gets more and more and more. They're using the algorithms, maybe even paid posting. I don't know how exactly they're doing it. And some of this is because they're using coordinated networks of social media influencers, in my view, in my estimation, from what I'm seeing. This has all the earmarks of this, and like on a massive global scale. For host Jesse Waters, he says, they are at war with us, whether we want to accept it or not. They are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it? It says there. Yeah, and I have no doubt that you now have both sides convinced that everybody's at war. So it's about to kick off some sort of a civil war. In fact, it's been ongoing since probably 2015, 2016. It's been in the streets and the protests. That's why all these protests keep getting all this coverage. In all the years I worked in network television, we'd go to some protests, sometimes cover protests, but not like this. Now these protests are being covered because they are inflammatory. They're clickbait. They build ratings. That is the face of the whole war. The war between the left and the progressives, or I'd say, yes, the progressives are the liberals and the populists at this point. Sean McGuire, the left, what's it say there? Lectured us for the last decade about the dangers of violence from the right, from the assassination attempts of President Trump, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And the Democrat Party is a domestic terrorist organization whose most fanatics will not hesitate to murder their political opponents. This was not a one-off event. And I think back to all the stuff the people on the left have done to the right, but then I think, there's been some stuff coming from the right, and I hear I've been hearing just more and more and more really gross language and masks coming off over the last, especially couple of years, especially after October 7th, from the right, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to measure the graph. There's a lot of lot of trouble on both sides. I'm sorry, it's true. I have videos, I have recordings of just the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst stuff that I never thought that I'd ever hear, that I won't run here tonight. I haven't run any of it. I've got tons of it. Just from, just routine daily curation, collecting material for the program every night. And when I go on some platforms like Gab and now with Elon Musk taking over Twitter and turning it into X, some of these X spaces where they're talking about immigration and just openly talking about, let's face it, you know what I'm talking about. Do you really need me to? No, because some of you are participating in it, while at the same time saying we're not racist. No, but some people are getting sucked down into that abyss that I keep talking about, and it's true, and it's out there, and I'm just appalled and so disappointed to see this happening to people, because once again we're failing the test. Keeping in mind that, when the pandemic struck, the vast majority of people were so scared that even people who later claimed and even now claim to be fighting for freedom, a lot of those people, and some of you out there probably right now, you can look in the mirror, you were there too, probably saying, yeah, we have to lock everything down, do it to us. Only to then realize that, hey, this kind of sucks. I'm going to go join those people out there who are saying this sucks. And don't tell me that's not true, because I literally, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I literally went down to a street corner, and I have never protested in my life before. I've only ever covered protests, but not being a journalist at the time, I'd been out of it for a little while. I literally went down to a street corner, me and one other person, in the beginning days of the pandemic, when they first started to lock people down and make us wear masks, even before the masks were mandated. I went out on a street corner and I was protesting with somebody. Just the two of us. Actually, no, there were three, because the other person brought their kids. No, three? Yeah, no, four, because she had two kids there. Two kids. She had two of her kids there. And that was it. That was it. And then I was like, I don't know, like we're doomed. Slowly, people began to join over the coming weeks, but wow. And yep, people still failing the test, only the other way around now. What's this one here? Jerry. There's a very small on my screen, so I apologize. Jer memes. Charlie Kirk has been shot. Enough is enough. Democrats need to be labeled as a terrorist organization. Laura Loomer. It's time for the Trump administration to shut down, defund, and prosecute every single leftist organization. If Charlie Kirk dies from his injuries, and he did, his life cannot be in vain. We must shut these lunatic leftists down once and for all. The left is a national security threat. So, screw free speech. I guess you were just going to shut them down. You don't get to talk anymore. We're going to destroy you. Elon Musk. This was early on. He says, if they won't leave us in peace, then our choice is fight or die. That's a great way to dial it down. I remember 2016. Trump comes down the escalator. That's the moment when the real war began, I think. He comes down the escalator, and the media immediately goes to war with him. And I was appalled by that. And what do we got here? People messaging. I don't know. Lots of activity going on. Okay, so 2016, reporter that I'd known for quite a while, newspaper reporter, read an article that she had written. Won't tell you who it is. I don't want to embarrass the person. And they had just ripped Trump. And I read the article and I knew that they had lied in it, which if you lie to me, it turns my stomach. I don't like to be lied to because I'm a journalist. What credibility does anybody have if you lie? I called her and I said, why? And she said, because where Trump is, and she didn't even deny it. She said, where Trump is concerned, all bets are off. I was like, are you kidding me? This is a journalist that I'd known for years and respected. Never would I have ever expected that she would lie. But so opposed to Trump was she at the time that she lied, made stuff up in her article, which I found appalling. That is one of the things, honestly, that desensitized me in a serious way to everything that Trump has ever done. Because when I experienced that, I wanted to defend him against her because he to me was the victim of a smear campaign, which was true. But at the same time, he has been engaging in all kinds of lying and inflammatory conduct, which I was predisposed to turning a blind eye to for years because he also portrayed himself as a victim, which in many respects, I guess maybe he was, but now I see that a lot of it was actually probably justified. Well, a lot of it wasn't. And this has been going on back and forth on both sides. Slowly over time, we got out of the pandemic, sort of, and it's just been one thing after another ever since then. And this is just the latest thing. This Charlie Kirk assassination and Irina Zarutska, just days before. And you know what it is? Trump's in power again. He's got no time to waste. He's got a plan. And the people around him have a plan. And people internationally have a plan. And they're executing the plan, but they only have so much time. And they've been looking or waiting for a moment like this. Whether they choreographed this in some way, and I don't want to spin up a conspiracy around it. I just know that there's absolutely a plan because everybody has a plan who's in politics. And the more I've progressed through this and I've come back into journalism, and I didn't come back into my journalism on the news side immediately in 2016. It took until we hit the pandemic a couple of years later. I'd been out. I'd just been doing automotive journalism for quite a while. News was, out of the mix. So I wasn't in the cycle and in the know. I wasn't aware. I wasn't paying attention. It's taken me time to catch back up to what's really kind of going on, and nothing had prepared me for what we've been going through and what I, as a journalist, have had to go through since the pandemic struck. And the Freedom Convoy is really when I reignited or rekindled my journalism, because I wanted to make sure that the Freedom Convoy was covered fairly. Period. You do a bad thing, you get called out. You do a good thing, called out, and you did a good thing. We'll show that as accurately as we possibly can or could at the time, and even after. That's what this is all. What this whole channel is about. Truth. Full perspective. That's why we were running the live streams as unedited. That was the whole thing at the time, right? It was like, just pick up all the live streams, run everything so that everybody can see as much as we possibly can unedited. But you know what? Even that stuff was edited because the people presenting the live streams are only showing you the things that they wanted to show you. And it's taken me years to figure out that because it's a new medium, the whole social media thing. And this going on right now, this right here, this is part of the challenge because people don't realize how powerful this is and what's really being done to everybody. how it's warping your mind or your perspective. And I don't mean necessarily, well, yes, I do. I mean, it is literally warping your perspective, my perspective, everyone's perspective. Because you're seeing the world through this computer screen or on your phone instead of out walking around on the street. It amplifies everything immensely. Even tonight, I'm showing you highlights. It's a highlight reel of the most dramatic things that have happened in the whole world today. And because you have cameras literally everywhere, these feeds are curated or compiled into collections of the most dramatic highlights from all over the world with billions of people on board this little rock that's floating through space. And so if there's a fire, you get it. You get somebody shot in the neck, you get that times 100. And then that's playing in your head, and that gets you jacked up. It gets me jacked up. It got me jacked up a lot during the pandemic. And honestly, even then, for a long time, I can tell you for sure I was not thinking straight because I was just so pissed at Justin Trudeau and the government and even local officials here for locking us down. Because for me, somebody who truly loves freedom, that's the most distasteful thing, along with lying about things, that I can think of. I don't want to live like that. I certainly don't want to live under martial law. How many people, and let me just ask you this in the chat tonight, how many of you want to live under martial law? Did you like being locked down? Did you like living under martial law? I sure as hell didn't, because that's essentially what was going on at the time. Anybody out there enjoy that? Anybody want that back? Just leave your comments in the chat. I'm gonna pick up on that, and I'm gonna circle back to this whole thing about martial law in a moment. Let me know if anybody wants to go back to living under that, because that essentially is what we were living under, was a kind of a soft martial law, not full up, but a soft kind of martial law. Let me know. Who liked it? I didn't. That's what I'm opposed to. Hate that crap. Too much. See, that's way too much government for me. That's what I'm talking about. Too much freaking government. Man. Justin Trudeau. Huge mistake, man. Go down in history as the worst prime minister ever in Kazakhstan. And Biden. And I think maybe even Trump too. And maybe, like, I don't even know about these conservatives in Canada. Like I say, I'm a conservative, right? I'm a conservative, yeah. Except the Conservative Party, I said a long time ago, left me because they kind of went a little too progressive for me. So after I stopped being a journalist, you know, I was way more focused on the Conservative Party. But when I saw what they were doing with the economy, I'm like, no, I'm not supporting you guys anymore. That's why I kind of ended up over with Max Bernier, because he was a conservative foreign affairs minister, leaves the party when they basically kind of stole the leadership from him. And then he forms the PPC, the People's Party of Canada. I'm over there with him. I'm like, okay, yeah, the party left me. I'll just go over there with Max. And I just kind of blindly followed him over to the PPC. And I kind of got involved with that. Because to me, he's just like, this is the new Conservative Party, right? Well, I think at first, yeah. But then over time, it's become something different. For sure. And then here's Michelle Ferrari, Conservative member of Parliament. And I'm like, well, listen to what she says today. Is this not in lockstep with all these other influencers? And she's kind of there, man. Here, let me just run the clip from Michelle. And at times I've been like, yeah, you know, I like what she says. But I have to be honest. This is raising, oh, for crying out loud. Did I just lose that clip? Indeed, I did. Hang on. This computer is just really causing grief tonight. I will bring her back up. Here we go. So she is responding to this provincial politician out in Manitoba. In fact, maybe I should show you that story first to give you the proper perspective on this. So here is right here. Manitoba cabinet minister has now apologized for sharing a post about Charlie Kirk's death. Here, I'll bring this up so you can see the headline. And this is what Michelle is going to comment on. Right there. Here it is. The war continues. So Manitoba cabinet minister apologizes for sharing post about American activist death. Apologized today for sharing a social media post. Families Minister Nahani Fontaine shared another person's post last night that described Kirk as a racist, sexist, and transphobic, calling him a white nationalist mouthpiece. The post's author said that they had no empathy for Kirk, save for his children, who are believed to have witnessed the killing earlier this week at the university south of Salt Lake City, Utah. The man stood for nothing but hate, the post read in part. Fontaine removed the post shortly after, but screenshots had already begun to circulate on social media, and criticism quickly followed. The opposition Progressive Conservatives called for Fontaine to be removed from cabinet and possibly the NDP caucus as well. Her post is atrocious, it's despicable, it's disgusting, Tory leader Obi Khan said. She must be removed from her cabinet position. And Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew, who had condemned the killing of Kirk earlier in the week and stressed the need for empathy, said he spoke with Fontaine Friday and asked her to apologize. She will remain in cabinet, he added. The story goes on. You've got the idea. And then Michelle Ferrari, I always want to call her Ferrari, but it's not. She's not a car. So I apologize if I'm getting your name pronounced incorrectly, Michelle. But here's her clip. And I worry a little bit about where it goes.
Okay, this is important, and this is why we need to pick a side, and there needs to be consequences when you are in a position of power. This is Nahani Fontaine's tweet. Nahani Fontaine is a minister in the provincial government in Manitoba for families and children. And this is what she wrote. Charlie Kirk was a racist, xenophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic, sexist, white nationalist mouthpiece who made millions of dollars inciting hatred in this country. Whether it was his genocide denial, his transphobic tirades, his pushing for mass deportation, or his normalizing Trumpism for years, the man stood for nothing but hate. I extend absolutely no empathy for people like that. In this situation, my empathy is reserved for his children. May they grow up to live in a country that is the total opposite of everything their father envisioned. May all our children grow up to live in a country that values their lives enough to take gun violence seriously and reject any person who would try to justify senseless gun-related deaths, especially the deaths of children. This is why you have to pick a side. This is where we're at now, folks. You know when people say, why don't politicians work together? Because of that. They are intolerant and incapable of discourse and discussion. Charlie Kirk's whole message was, if you disagree with me, come to the front of the line. Because when discourse stops, violence starts. This woman has no idea who Charlie Kirk was or what he stood for or what his mission was, which was to de-radicalize North America and the West. And to have healthy discourse and to go into universities to encourage critical thought. Because if you can't debate what you believe in, then you either have to reevaluate what you thought you knew, or you should be able to defend it. And that's how your brain grows. That's how thought grows. Because a good idea should be a good idea, regardless of what side you sit on. So, Wab Kinew, I commend you for speaking out against Charlie Kirk's political assassination. But Wab Kinew, if you do not fire this minister, shame on you, because nobody in a political position should speak like that. And if every single politician does not denounce political violence, then you are the problem and you do not deserve to be in public office.
I'm not so sure that with the yeah, I don't have to pick a side Actually, I don't, Michelle. I don't have to pick that side, and I don't have to pick that side. It's not black and white. I don't have to follow you. I don't have to follow the people on the other side either. And what she said there doesn't sound like it's like she's championing free speech to me. Sounds like cancel culture. Shut them down, shut them up, destroy them. We're at war. They don't get a voice anymore. Isn't that what the other side was doing when they were in power? Censorship, YouTube bans. I got my channels shut down over there. I got channels shut down over there. I got banned off Facebook. And now Michelle wants to do it to them, and all these other people want to do it to them. Wouldn't you want to try to be better than that? Anybody want to live under martial law? Anybody, any comments on the martial law thing? Did anybody say there any comments on that at all in there? I'm not seeing any. My point that I'm making is I've literally heard people on the freedom side or the saying that if it was up to them, we'd have martial law right now. We literally have people cheering for Donald Trump to put troops into the streets. Instead of calling for better policing or good policing, no, just bring out the freaking military. Never thought I'd see the day. That is one of the things that was in my head during the pandemic. That is one of the things that prevented me from thinking really entirely clearly for a long time. And I wasn't the only one. I remember having conversations with a friend on the phone talking about all of that. A very close friend. Doesn't come around here anymore. Because I'm not sure that they're thinking clearly these days. I had vision. When I was a kid, I used to have a recurring dream. It's still stuck in my head. This is really weird. Maybe it's not weird. I'll tell you. My dream was, and this goes back to the age of between the ages of about 3 and I'd say 6. Same dream. I remember it vividly like it was yesterday. A foreign military invades and they're in my neighborhood. I'm like 3. And this went on for years. Not every night, but some nights. And I would run out into the street and open a manhole and crawl down inside. And I would run through the tunnels under the streets. And every once in a while I'd climb back up and lift up a manhole and look out and I'd see tanks and military in the streets and I was hiding from them. That was my dream, even as a kid. So when the pandemic hit, those memories were triggered, of course. My worst nightmare coming potentially to life, because during the pandemic, I just had visions of that. Martial law. How long? Like Christmas came that year, and I said to my dad, of course, they live, an hour away. And I said, I don't care what the government says. I don't care if they have all the roads blocked off and they're telling us we can't celebrate Christmas. We can't get together with our families over the holidays. I said, I don't care. One way or another, we're coming. And we did. It didn't come to that. But I literally had thoughts in my head that the military or police anyway would have all the roads blocked off to prevent people from traveling to relatives' homes for the Christmas vacation, to celebrate Christmas that year. And I was like, we're going. I don't care what I have to do. And I would have been pretty skilled at getting around the roadblocks anyway. I always was, even as a reporter, when it was necessary to go and get images of fires or car wrecks or whatever the case might be. Just absolutely paranoid. Rational? Probably not, but maybe. It was getting to be, I think, sometimes that bad. And so when I hear people with a following, influencers, encouraging people to, it's time to pick a side. We're at war. It's time to fight. This is the kind of rhetoric that is so dangerous, especially right now. People are emotional and they are out in the streets, and they're calling people out into the streets even now to rise up. No thanks. Bad idea, in my opinion. Rise up for what? What am I picking a side for? Whose side am I on? I don't even know what the frickin' Conservative Party stands for today. I really don't. Are they liberal light? Which is why I kind of became disillusioned with the party, because they were acting so much like Trudeau. At the time, you had O'Toole and Scheer. Now Polyev, and I don't even really know what he stands for, to be quite honest. He seems to be just saying whatever he thinks people want to hear to get votes, in my opinion. So, and he kind of lost me with a lot of what he it's just like, it's just so negative, and it's just like, he doesn't have a positive thing to say, because he knows that negative messaging gets people emotional, and he was hoping during the election that would be what would drive people to the polls to vote for him, and he blew the lead. He screwed himself. It was his to lose, and he lost the election in like incredible form. How do you blow a lead like that? By being so negative. And the people around him advising him right now, they're going to lose again. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he's going too hard the other way. Way too hard. It will not resonate with Canadians. It just will not. It's a huge mistake. If he keeps going there, it's not going to fly. He has to come up with really better ideas. And when I'm listening to him right now, his ideas are kind of like similar kinds of ideas, but not really it's not going to work. When I listen to him, I just want to, I don't know, if I wasn't sane, I might slip my wrists. He makes it sound so bad. And that's what he's trying to do to you. That's what she's doing. It's time to pick a side. That's what he was doing with the whole temporary foreign worker news conference that he came up with the other day. It was less about the economy, and it wasn't about jobs. It was getting you pissed off. That's what the whole thing was. Are you pissed off yet? How about now? I saw a job posting for Booster Juice where they were going to pay a foreign worker $36 an hour. Are you pissed off yet? That's not a solution. It gets people real angry, though, especially just in time for maybe some big rallies coming up. Get them out into the streets and get us all fighting. Yeah, and there's similar messaging coming from the other side to get people on the other side jacked up, too. Now we can all go out there and fight. No thanks. I don't think so. Nah. Something stinks. Since I'm on the subject of Polyev, before we get to Tyler Robinson and what he's all about, Polyev today saying that in an interview with CBC, and this is all fresh today, saying, yeah, in the current political environment, he worries about the safety of his family. No kidding. Well, when you've got members of parliament out there saying it's time to pick a side for what? The war? Because I don't know, like, how about you give the best ideas you have, and you present the best ideas you have, and then we'll vote. and I'll pick my side that way. But what am I picking a side? Just do your job. Make sure my garbage is picked up on Tuesday. Okay? Just do your damn job as a politician and stop trying to get people to pick a side so you can go out and fight. How about being responsible and being a leader and telling people to remain calm and peaceful so that people don't get hurt? That would be leadership. I haven't listened to this whole clip yet, but apparently Polyev is saying that, yeah, given the way things are right now, I worry about the safety of my family.
I would like to switch gears here and talk about a developing news story, which is the assassination of U.S. conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The FBI has this morning announced that they have arrested a suspect. In this country, when we talk about political violence, you and the Prime Minister have both said it is never justified. But we know that there are growing threats against politicians. That includes yourself and your family.
Yes.
Are you worried?
I worry for my family. I'll be honest with you. We have had very serious threats to the point where the RCMP decided that it merited protection for my family and I for over a prolonged period of time. And they've been multiple, and they have been serious threats. I think we need to secure all of our political leaders, not just me. I think all the political leaders and ministers who face real threats according to the RCMP's assessment, they should have protection so that something like this does not happen on our turf here in Canada.
The fact that you're saying that should happen suggests that perhaps there are instances where you think it's not happening. There's not sufficient securing.
Listen, I don't know if you can secure everything, but I think we should do I'm not going to accuse the government of anything on that front. I know that all the political leaders would share my view that this is unfortunately a risk that's out there, and we should do everything we can to mitigate it.
More broadly, what do you think we should be doing differently on a more societal level, political dialogue to try to address this?
We don't know what motivated this person, so I have a hard time saying what different behavior would have avoided him doing this act. But I think we need to make clear that you can't shut people down just because you disagree with them. Obviously, Mr. Kirk was killed because he expressed a contrary point of view. He said something that somebody didn't think that they should have to hear. But that's democracy. Democracy doesn't mean you get to silence someone just because you disagree with what they have to say. Disagreement and debate is necessary in a free and open democracy, and we can't let the terrorist who carried out this assassination change that.
Indeed, I agree.
Is there a change? We've heard about the idea of disagreeing agreeably. Is there a tonal change in this country, in Canada's politics, that is needed to keep people safe in the face of this climate?
I think we have to inculcate the idea that we're all going to go through life hearing things we don't agree with, and we don't get to shut down contrary opinions. We have to debate them. Sometimes it's frustrating, maddening, but that's life in a democracy. And, we have to raise our kids, and we have to teach all citizens that freedom of speech includes hearing things you don't like. And we can't censor people, attack them, try to destroy their lives, fire them, kick them out of their place of work, whether it's a media organization or carry out violence as a mechanism to silence views that we don't agree with.
Obviously, there's a...
But is that not what some of these influencers on the right are calling for right now, including Michelle, who wants the provincial politician in Manitoba to be fired because she didn't agree with Charlie Kirk? And yeah, I mean, I think it would have been better form if the politician had just been a little more sensitive and had shown a little more class instead of coming out and attacking Charlie Kirk this soon after his death on his policies. And really not even the words not coming directly from the politician, but sharing the post. Nevertheless, I totally get it. Very probably inappropriate. Yeah. But isn't that really like, how far do you want to go? You want to fire her? Yeah, that's what Michelle wants. That's what a lot of people, that's where we're going. So isn't that the same that we were getting on the other side?
Pretty dramatic difference between a political assassination and someone, I mean, the examples you gave of somebody losing their job because they said something offensive to a reporter in front of a TV camera. I think there was a very public example of that, losing their job. Those things are not really the same.
No, they're not. That's not what I was saying. What I'm saying is that we need to live in a society where people are free to express themselves, and where everyone understands they're going to have to hear contrary opinions. I hear them all the time. It's part of the
But this example, I guess, is relevant. Is that particular case of the reporters being harassed, people yelling this offensive "F her" right in the it talks about the limits. Like it's true. I understand what you're saying, that people should be able to speak their minds, but we also need limits on what is appropriate when people shouldn't be harassed in the workplace and whatnot. Like, do you think it's inappropriate for someone to lose their job when they conduct what appears to be an act of public harassment?
Of course.
Yeah. I guess I'm just trying to understand where you see the line, given that you put all those things in the same category.
Where I see the line is that people have the freedom to express political opinions that are contrary to others. But of course, that does not include carrying out harassment against. In fact, my point was exactly the opposite of that. If you're harassing someone or you're aggressing against someone because of their political point of view, then you're behaving inappropriately, and that should not go on.
Okay, we're going to end the conversation there. Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
And can't disagree with that. And I don't know, some of what I'm hearing on social media, even from some of the Conservative members of Parliament, and certainly we've seen it from the Liberal side for, well, years. And we've seen it with censorship, and you can't talk about the jabberoonie, and you can't, if you say the wrong thing, you're banned on YouTube. This is what has taken us to this place. I say I don't know about you, but I aspire to be better. And being better means not doing the same things as the other side and seeking vengeance. There's no freedom there. And there's no freedom in anger. And there's not going to be any freedom for anybody if everybody goes out into the streets and engages in some sort of a race war or a bloodbath. We need to defend everybody's rights as individuals, in my view. And when I hear people who claim to be freedom fighters and have frankly lied to me and to all of us, and even lied under oath, in my estimation, at inquiries, saying, I'm not a white nationalist. And then making videos where they're saying, I'm a white nationalist. And if it was up to me, I'd have martial law right now. No, thank you. No. That's the opposite of freedom. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So let's dig into a little bit about what this Tyler Robinson is about, and we'll come back to some of this stuff. I was posting online through the day today. I don't know what, no, just so much people messaging me. I'll try to take a look here in a minute. And his mom was very, well, she posted a lot of family stuff online. And so there is a whole bunch of material about Tyler Robinson online and his family. I'll just show you some of the Twitter feed from today on our Maverick News channel, if this computer will cooperate. Sluggish. Hang on. Let me just reduce the memory load, and we will. Here we go. And if you look at these photos, I mean, he just looks like a normal, everyday kid. When I say normal, whatever normal is, I mean, it's just very American. And strangely, everybody was trying to, let's be honest. Some people are like, it's probably a trans shooter. It's some radical whatever, before we even knew who the shooter might be. And this is still a case that needs to be proven. They seem pretty confident. Amber Jones Robinson, I believe that's his mom. Happy Halloween. So weird not trick-or-treating with the boys this year. Off they go. I guess because the kids were growing up and didn't need parental accompaniment or supervision, so they got to go on their own. And there is Tyler, and he has this Donald Trump costume. I remember those. It looks like a mini Trump, and it would like walk, you'd be walking and he'd be walking in front of you. It was kind of a funny thing. And he just looks very happy. I don't know if he was, even if he was like a big Trump fan back then. This was in 2017 or not. There it is there. And he's green, green Trump. Not sure what that's all about, but it was Halloween and he looks like a happy kid. There's a bigger picture of him there. A little bit older. And he had taken some tests prior to going to university and scored in the top 1%. So he's a very intelligent young man. This is from 2020 from his mom. Had back to school date number 2 with this man-child of mine and didn't get a single picture. This was a rough one since it's his senior year. We met with his guidance counselor and started talking colleges. This boy is a genius, and I'm hoping he'll pick a Utah college and stay close to his mama. He killed the act, that's the test, and has a 4.0. So his options are endless. As I say, scored in the top 1%. And in American, style, happy 16th birthday to my Austin. He's a leather-working, gun-toting, cowboy-loving, brilliant kid. He has so many talents. It's been so fun to watch them develop. And you can see here that his siblings, the family, out, fishing, I guess hunting. There's some sort of a gun there that they're firing. So they've had exposure to guns on some level. In 2021, I can't believe my boy is a senior and going to college in the fall. I'm such a proud mama, but can't imagine not having him at home. Proud of you, Tyler. And there are photos. And there is a video there too, which I won't share with you at the moment, but he's excited about his test, I think is what that was. And then other photos, and he's wearing a mask there. As you can see in 2021, that was still going on. And a better shot of him right there. At a diner. That's Tyler Robinson. This was these are images that were released. And this was one of the photos that led to his arrest, I guess, because after authorities on this one on the left, when they released that, it helped them track him down, and that's what led his relatives to turn him in. And as you can see, the shoes match. This is another photo. So really, I mean, tragic. I don't think it ended up being what a lot of people were hoping it would be or thought it might be. And because people have been trying to politicize this and have been politicizing it, people want it. I have no doubt that there were people like, come on, be a trans. Be a trans. And I've heard people saying it was Mossad that killed Charlie Kirk. And that's still out there, saying that it was the Jewish people responsible. Israel, Mossad, even though it's this kid. And we don't have the facts, but we have more information tonight as a result of this. More information, but not enough for people to make rational conclusions out of any of this stuff. Alex Jones, I'll run what he had to say. As always, just all over this. It says, breaking analysis, Charlie Kirk's killer confirmed, all caps, to be Antifa devil. Alex Jones' response to the capture of Tyler Robinson. We're living in the Podesta Civil War plan, and the trans Antifa cult is the tip of the spear on the violent left. Well, that'll calm everyone down. Not.
I saw this happen, and I got the report for Crowder from the ATF. It fit exactly in with what we saw 2 weeks ago in Minnesota and the rest of us. This is 8 pro-trans shooters, anti-fascist shooters, as they call it, because we're all Hitler, in a row. And we've got all these serial killer groups, you name it. This is their mentally ill army that they've literally launched. And I'm really glad that you remembered your old post on X about the Ron Paul event, talking to one of his donors, saying, oh, man, he's worried Israel kill him. That's a real thing you got to worry about. He was really starting to go hard on Israel. So it needs to be investigated and looked at. But that's a whole separate area over there that needs to be investigated. But now that this is coming out, and now that his father turned him in, that's pointing again towards this. We need to be ready for more of these attacks. It was in Israel, obviously, that shot up the Catholic Church 2 weeks ago, either, or the kids in Tennessee with the female to male trans. No, this is their day of rage. This is their movement. That this is what they've said they're going to do. This is the tip of the spear. Alexander Soros is funding it. And if you go to a leftist Antifa rally, about a third of the people are trans, and they're vicious. A lot of them have guns. We see them in Austin at the rallies. They threaten people. They go around pointing guns at people and they get blasted. And then the DAs throw them in prison, the people that defend themselves. So they're building up towards this, and it's getting worse and worse. And they're shooting up ICE facilities and, killing Border Patrol agents. And it just barely makes a blip on the radar screen. But we've got to stay peaceful. We got to understand we're winning the information war. We've got to have security. We've got to watch out. We've got to protect ourselves. We've got a right to defend ourselves. But they're trying to push us into violence. But that's the Podesta plan, folks. He published it. I mean, he's in command. August of 2020. And they said if Trump, I know you've all heard it 1,000 times because it's the battle plan, people. If Trump wins, we're going to launch this. And then when they stole it, they tabled it, they said, now we're bringing the Podesta plan back again. We're living in the Podesta plan. We're living in the Podesta plan. We're living in the Podesta plan. We're living in the Podesta plan, okay? And all these hordes of trannies and communists and Muslims running around doing all of this, they are a real issue funded by the left, funded by the Rothschilds, funded by the globalists in this dialectic.
I'll be back.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Took me a little too much time there. I'm back. The Podesta plan. Yeah. But I don't think it's all one way. They say nothing will ever be the same because of this assassination of Charlie Kirk. Again, when I start thinking back, when things really changed? When things really started to change? When Trump came down the escalator. Everything changed at that moment. Nothing's been the same since. I'm not saying it's all him. I'm not saying it's all his fault or anything. It just seems to me like it's on both sides because it just ramped everything up and we got polarization. Because Trump, not like any other Republican, because he's not a Republican. He took over the Republican Party, but this is not conservatism that we are going through. And the other side's known this, and the other side has felt incredibly threatened, cornered. And because they've been backed into a corner, they've become like a terrified wild animal trapped. And I think, honestly, that's been the case for quite a while. But see, they were gaining ground. They had power. The progressives, which I was never happy about because it was like they're taking stuff too far. Both sides taking two things too far. You're getting too much extremism. And people are being pulled to the extremes on both sides to come together and clash in an explosive war, which is what we're getting right now. And when I say that, I mean, I really mean it. It's not cool to have naked people walking through the streets in parades that are supposed to be festivals, naked men just out walking around, because that really gets a lot of people upset. But it's there. So then it becomes a question of morality. Where do you draw the line? All these things. But this has been going on for a while, and some people are just fed up with it, obviously. And then this side fights back against that side, and then the other side gets extreme, and this side, and it's too much extremism. And it seems to me like it's mostly by design, because some people are capitalizing on this. They're opportunists, and they want you out in the streets. They want all of us out in the streets at each other's throats, fighting to destabilize the country so that they can do what they want to do with you, just like the pandemic. Lock you down, shut you up. Masks for everybody, jabberoonies for you and everyone else, mandates. And then now the freedom people, they're so jacked up. They back in power. Trump's in the White House. It's cool to be a racist. Say whatever you want. You can be as vulgar as you want to be. Insult your enemy. Destroy them. And bring in martial law. Because the other side is so violent that look at what we have to do now. Let's get out into the streets and we'll just take over. And, if you're not on board, then get out of the way. Get behind me. Well, maybe I'm just not going to show up at all. Like I said, what if they had a war and nobody showed up? Just a thought. Wouldn't be hard. Just don't go. And even when somebody tries to do the right thing, I guess you get criticized for it. Here's Steve Bannon saying that the father is an accessory. It's the father, I guess, who turned him in. And Bannon is saying, oh, he's no hero. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's not. I don't know.
I want to correct Jack Posobiec. And by the way, we're going to toss.
Here we go.
Right now to the Charlie Kirk Show, the great team of Andrew, Tyler, and Jack from Charlie Kirk's studio with Turning Point. Fantastic guys. I'm going to talk to them. I disagree with one thing, Jack. The father knew he's an accessory. That's why he turned him in. It's not some great Christian good. He raised a demon. He raised a demon. He knew they were going to close in and eventually get the kid. And if he hadn't turned him in, he was going to be arrested. I want to correct Jack.
And you know what? I still want more information. Obviously something wasn't right in that young man's head for him to climb up on the roof, if indeed he did it. And it looks like he probably did. So something's not right. But what was it really that brought him to that point? Again, people just making these statements saying that he went to college and they radicalized him and turned him into a liberal terrorist. I don't know what it was. What got him to that point? What gets anybody to that point? I have a clip that I'm going to play for you in a little while that might make a little more sense out of it. I've been saying for quite a while is social media, probably combined with drugs and sometimes mental illness, although in this case, and maybe he was mentally unstable. I guess he had to be to do what he did, if he did it. How do you get there? How do any of them get there? And, one of the common threads through all of these shootings of late in the last few years is they seem to just write messages on their bullets. He did it too. And similar messages to what we've seen from other shooters and other incidents. And then, the social media war on the Canadian side continues to. This is Rachel Gilmore, a favorite with people on the populist side, not. Here's what she's saying today.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and my name is currently first on a website claiming to expose Charlie Kirk's murderers. You might be wondering how I got here. I'm kind of wondering that too. I already told this story to Wired, but let me tell it to you now in my own words. Because for the last 2 days, I've been getting messages like this nonstop, claiming to know where I live and saying they're coming for me. Now, what did I say to deserve all of this? Let's go to the website and read the screenshots that they included of me celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. I said I was terrified to think of how far-right fans of Kirk, aching for more violence, could very well turn this into an even more radicalizing moment. Will they now believe their fears have been proven right and feel they have a right to retaliate regardless of who actually was behind the initial shooting? That analysis came from the fact that I am an experienced journalist who has extensively covered right-wing extremism. That's also why, by the way, a lot of people hate me and want to shut me up. And I was immediately proven right. Many far-right personalities are using this as an excuse to agitate and retaliate against their political enemies. That includes former conservative leader Andrew Scheer, because this is where it all started for me. The hate massively escalated when former conservative leader and sitting currently conservative MP Andrew Scheer took my words and called me twisted and said I have so much hate in me. Pierre Poilievre's wife also boosted this post. Then things got even worse when I got a DM from a friend of mine telling me about this website. She sent me the link, and at first I thought she must have sent me the link to the direct post about me on this website. But then I double checked the link and I realized this was the homepage. My name was first. And then things exploded. The flood of threats turned into a tsunami. And as it escalated, I shared that I was scared. Then several massive American right-wing accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers took a screenshot of that and shared it saying I deserved it, without showing what I actually said. And suddenly I was like the face of people celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, even though that literally never happened. And it's made the last 48 hours of my life a living hell. Every single person who's ever disliked me is using this as a chance to get their pound of flesh. But this is the part I really want you to hear. It's not just me. There are tons of people listed on this site who aren't public figures, who have never dealt with this before, and I am terrified for them. Some of the posts on this website are private messages. People are snitching on folks in their lives. And if they've received what I've received in the last 48 hours, which I'm sure they have, I'm so worried about them. People are out for blood right now. And there are people out there who are using this moment irresponsibly to serve up their perceived political enemies as a sacrifice. And for what? They're just proving me right. And I just really hope no one makes good on these threats, because I now have to live as if they might.
Nothing new in a way with Rachel Gilmore and her political opponents have been at each other's throats for years, which is, again, not where we should be. And she kind of has a point, but she's also been attacking people in a similar way. I just don't know, man. This is, I'm not afraid. Maybe I should be for myself, because, you know, some people I think might like to kick me in the shins too, but I don't worry about it like that. You can't go through life being afraid, but I am afraid for the country, especially Canada and the U.S. Civil war. If as far as I'm concerned, the U.S. is in a civil war right now. It's just a different kind, because a lot of it's been online. It's an information civil war that is now potentially about to go kinetic. In fact, it clearly has, because you've seen Democrat politicians assassinated within the last few months. And we've seen now Charlie Kirk assassinated. We've seen Donald Trump on 2 occasions attempts to assassinate him. We saw during the election some crazy people trying to get to RFK Jr. as well. It is very dangerous out there. And then this guy doing this, he has original paper targets for target practice. And so people are like, and he's got a shirt on that says normalize political violence. And he's selling these to people who want to take shots at, I guess, I think he says fascists. Anyway, I'll let him speak. I hope we don't get a copyright strike on this music.
What's up, shooters and future shooters of America? Have you been interested in getting a gun and maybe shooting some cool things like maybe a fucking Klansman? Well, I got him. I got the White Klansman over here, the Grand Wizard Klansman over here. I got the dang Nazi from World War II. I got a fascist in America. I got the American Gestapo, and I got more American fascists. And what's...
So I'm not going to run the whole thing because he is playing copyrighted music in the background. We've seen stuff like this going on. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was in Windsor. They had a protest demonstration of sorts down at the riverfront at the Detroit River, and they were letting people. What were they doing? With throwing darts, maybe, or was it an axe at pictures of Donald? I think it was Donald Trump. Might have been Mark Carney at the riverfront. So this guy, here are the targets. You can shoot these fascists. Some people get upset with that. How dare you take shots at the KKK guy? And I also find it interesting, that when I've pointed out that we've had Democrat politicians assassinated, like literally killed within the last few months. And that didn't really get that much media attention. It was in the news cycle for a day, 2 days. And then it just faded away. Not a lot of attention paid to it, frankly. And then people on the conservative side or populist side, the MAGA side, saying, "Oh no, it was a leftist that did it to their own people." But if you listen to people on the other side, "Oh no, it was a crazed lunatic conservative over there." And then it turns into, what do you choose to believe again? Because you don't know what is real anyway. And even with this killing of Charlie Kirk, what have we seen over the past couple of days? All kinds of conspiracy theories and, the ring moving on the finger of Charlie Kirk when he's falling backwards in the video. And no, he's dead. If you think that it's all fake, I can't help you much more. I'm just kind of getting to the point too, where it's like, I'm tired of trying to save people. All I can do is present information, do with it what you will, which is all I've ever really been able to do. But I have honestly been trying to save people. And it's impossible at a certain point. Here's, I believe this is the casket of Charlie Kirk being brought back on Air Force 2 by J.D. Vance. And look, this is how divided the country is, even with the casket being, just video of the casket being taken from the aircraft. This guy here, Ryan Sheed, says, "Can anyone tell me why U.S. Air Force Honor Guard is carrying the casket of racist and bigot Charlie Kirk? He never served in the military. What a disgrace. College dropout who made a living saying vile things about Americans is not a martyr. He's a casualty of his own words. I hope Charlie is rotting in hell with Rush Limbaugh." Signed, Ryan Sheed. And I'm not going to run the video because it also has copyrighted music on it. It's a terrible environment out there, man. And here's this woman. I haven't heard this, but I'll play it. I'm just illustrating the divide in how everything is. You want to talk about toxicity? Here it is. I'm sure this will be toxic, whoever this is.
So I was just fired from my job.
Oh.
So, yeah, follow me. I don't know. Like this video, give me a follow, and stay tuned for more content because it is coming. It is coming.
Yep. So you say something and you get canceled. I don't know what she said. Maybe I'll go over and no, it's not her account. It was a repost, so I don't know what it was she said. But there are consequences for what you say sometimes. And here's the video of Tyler Robinson that I didn't run earlier. Here we go. Let's bring it up. And the FBI being criticized because while they were portraying themselves, and Kash Patel was portraying the FBI and the investigators as having done this fantastic job. Some people actually being critical of the FBI, as I have been from the beginning, because first they arrested 2 people who didn't do it and seemed to convey that we got the guy twice, not mistake. And I can kind of forgive it to a degree in the heat of the moment, especially the first one. The second one, maybe not quite as much. And it took them 30 some hours to track this guy down. At least they got him. But it says here the FBI did not catch this guy. The police did not catch this guy. He turned himself in, or his relatives convinced him to. And so humble up, FBI Director Kash. P.S. What's FBI Director, Deputy Director Bongino working on? His resignation letter? Well, here's the video of Tyler that we did not run earlier.
Congratulations, you have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University. The value of this scholarship is approximately $32,000. This scholarship is available for 4 years or 8 semesters.
So that was the letter he got, confirming that, he tested in the top 1%. Very bright kid. This is beyond tragic. What a waste. Because why? Because somehow he did become radicalized. Why, how, who knows? Whatever this is, it seems to me that there's more going on than meets the eye. As much as I hate to spin up conspiracies, but look at what is going on. Look at what has happened here. This is, as I've said, this is the George Floyd moment for the right. This is their martyr. Our martyr. Am I on the right? I don't know. I'm just trying to do the right things every day, man. That's what I'm trying to do. Just trying to do the right things. I'm not really on the right or the left. I'm just trying to do the proper things and be a good person and not help facilitate bloodshed.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
And that comment from Kash Patel, even that, fueling division, accusations that that's some sort of a dog whistle to fascists. There seems to be, I guess, the use of the word Valhalla carries some connotations like that. I can't say for sure because I've never really paid a lot of attention to, what's it take to be a fascist? What's the fascist culture all about? I haven't really been into it at all, ever. So yeah, I'm still playing catch up, but I'm learning. I am learning and becoming aware. And now I've learned that. Now I've learned that. Going to take a break. I'm going to save this last point that I want to make. I've got a clip here, but I'm gonna pivot away from the Charlie Kirk story for a moment so we can take a break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about some of the other top news of the day, and then I'll pivot back and give a wrap-up comment on the Charlie Kirk stuff. Then we're going to go into Maverick Midnight Matinee. Stay with me. More ahead after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. Big developments over in the Ukraine-Russia war. We talked about it last night with Mike McCarrick, one of our best military analysts here on the program, who has made several appearances and has been very helpful, and said to me last night, even as we were saying goodbye to each other after the program, we're not paying enough attention to what is going on over there with this huge buildup of troops along the Belarus border. And we've seen more developments in that regard today. While everybody's looking at this Charlie Kirk stuff, and the timing of all of that, frankly, very suspect to me, given a lot of talk about mid-September and a lot of protests and things on both sides of the border, Canada, US, all kind of converging around the same time. It seems very odd. Not that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but how convenient. Let's just take a look at the headlines here to kind of kick off this part of the discussion. Oops, let me pull this back. Ukraine news today. Warnings from NATO to Russia, and right here, Russia just said what Ukraine has been trying to tell Trump for months. Peace talks basically not working. Russia says Ukraine peace talks frozen as NATO bolsters defenses. 1 hour ago, Citizen Tribune. They are building up huge numbers of troops on the border with Belarus. Russia has military exercises ongoing there. Poland is taking it very seriously. They are very worried because of these drones that violated Polish airspace, shot down some of them in a multinational NATO response to that incursion of drones. 4 hours ago, Prince Harry made a surprise visit to Ukraine, I guess today. As Russian forces advance, Ukrainians in Donbass must choose to stay or go. Russia says, that's the BBC. And CTV, Russia says Ukraine peace talks frozen as NATO bolsters defenses. Let's bring up this. And this is why we're so concerned. Russia said Friday that peace talks with Kyiv were on pause as Zelensky warned that his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, still wanted to capture the whole of Ukraine. President Trump, meanwhile, warned that he was running out of patience with Putin, and the NATO alliance said it would bolster its eastern front after Russian drones were shot down in Polish airspace this week. Yesterday, I believe, we heard that it's something like 40,000 Polish troops moved up to the Belarusian border. The latest blow to faltering diplomacy came as Russia's army staged major military drills with its key ally, Belarus. Despite Trump forcing the warring sides to hold direct talks and hosting Putin in Alaska, there has been no significant progress towards ending the war launched by Russia's February 2022 invasion. And Trump and Putin has stepped up those drone attacks following the peace talks in Alaska, and then the other leaders, European leaders, with Zelensky meeting with Trump in the White House. Trump's patience running out, it says here. Drone tensions are high across Europe. 19 Russian drones flown in. NATO jets shot some of them down. I think they shot down 4 or 5 of them. But Poland said it would station around 40,000 troops near the Belarus border for the duration of the drills, because some are concerned that it's not a drill. And this escalation up there, and there is concern that, even a mistake could be made by one side or the other, with a shot being fired or some incident happening, which could just spark World War III. And it's really that serious. We have video of Mark Rutte, NATO commander, today, news conference issuing a warning to Russia. This is an escalation. Make no mistake, I've been saying we're already in a third world war. It's been mostly informational, but also kinetic in these countries where we're seeing kinetic wars. Gaza, we're seeing the war, kinetic war in Ukraine. We've seen the attack from Israel on Qatar, and now Saudi Arabia, I guess, is saying that they may participate in a retaliation against Israel for the attack on Qatar, where they went after the Hamas leaders, where they were in Qatar. Here's what was said by Rutte today, NATO.
The Supreme Allied Commander Europe, for joining me here in Brussels today. In the early hours of Wednesday, September 10th, numerous Russian drones violated Polish airspace. NATO's air defenses were activated and successfully ensured the defense of NATO territory. Whilst this was the largest concentration of violations of NATO airspace that we have seen, what happened on Wednesday was not an isolated incident. Russia's recklessness in the air along our eastern flank is increasing in frequency. We have seen drones violate our airspace in Romania, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Whether intentional or not, it is dangerous and unacceptable. At a meeting of the North Atlantic Council on Wednesday morning, allies discussed the situation in light of Poland's request for Article 4 consultations. Allies expressed full solidarity with Poland and denounced Russia's reckless behavior. NATO's core task is to deter aggression and defend every member of this alliance against whatever threats we face. Safeguarding our eastern flank is of utmost importance. This is why we have forward land forces deployed in 8 countries, with contributions from every ally supporting these contingents, and plans in place to scale up our presence if and when required. We have air defenses, ground, sea and air-based systems. Here too, with contributions from allies across Europe and North America working together every day to ensure that we are prepared and ready to defend every inch of Allied territory.
Well, that didn't look good. The building collapsing. That wasn't real.
To help safeguard critical infrastructure from reckless behavior in the Baltic Sea. And today, General Kinkowicz and I are here to announce that NATO is launching Eastern Sentry to bolster our posture even further along our eastern flank. This military activity will commence in the coming days and will involve a range of assets from allies including Denmark, France, United Kingdom, Germany and others. In addition, to more traditional military capabilities, this effort will also feature elements designed to address the particular challenges associated with the use of drones. Eastern Sentry will add flexibility and strength to our posture and make clear that as a defensive alliance, we are always ready to defend. I'm confident in the strength and ability of this alliance, not least because of the excellent leadership of our top brass. So let me pass the floor to General Grinkovich to provide a bit more detail about how we are reinforcing our posture through Eastern Sentry.
I'm eager to hear.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Secretary General. It's a great honor to be here by your side in Brussels for this important announcement, one that will strengthen our defenses. Integrated and layered air defenses, both air and ground-based, will be key as we move forward. This was on top of everyone's mind in the Baltic states, where I just returned from a short while ago. My conversations with leaders in Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia focused on NATO's response to the reckless and dangerous act that occurred in Poland earlier this week. I am incredibly proud of our response. It was decisive and it was effective, and it speaks to the capability and professionalism of 32 allies working together. As the Secretary General just mentioned, this decisiveness will continue with Eastern Sentry. Although the immediacy of our focus is on Poland, this situation transcends the borders of one nation. What affects one ally affects us all. This is an issue that impacts all of the alliance, and we will treat it as such. Eastern Sentry will be flexible and agile, delivering even more focused deterrence and defense exactly when and where needed. It will include additional enhanced capabilities. It will integrate air and ground-based defenses, and it will increase information sharing amongst nations. Foremost, it will even further strengthen our posture to shield and protect the alliance. Allies stand in solidarity with Poland and are committed to this endeavor. We have already seen announcements on the deployment of forces from France, Germany, Denmark, and the United Kingdom, and we expect others soon. As part of Eastern Sentry, we will also work with Allied Command Transformation, as we did in Baltic Sentry, to rapidly experiment and field new technologies, such as counter-drone sensors and weapons. Poland and citizens from across the alliance should be assured by our rapid response earlier this week and our significant announcement here today. NATO will continue to defend every inch of its territory.
Thank you, General Grinkovich, and I'm grateful to you and your team for the quick and decisive work you have done over the last days, and indeed every day of the year to keep our people safe. Indeed, I'm also grateful to our Supreme Allied Commander Transformation, Admiral Pierre Vondier. He is playing a key role on how we innovate and adapt our technology and tactics to address whatever new and novel challenges we may face, including from drones. NATO is a defensive alliance, and it is our job to ensure that we are doing all that is necessary to deter and defend. The reckless behavior we have seen from Russia is deeply dangerous. Our assessment of the incidents on Wednesday is ongoing, and whether or not Russia's actions were deliberate, Russia's violated NATO airspace. Therefore, we must, as NATO, make clear our resolve and our ability to defend our territory. And that is exactly what Eastern Sentry is designed to do. It will bolster our posture, add flexibility to our approach, and ensure the safety and security of our eastern flank. Thank you so much.
So we will leave it at that. We won't stick around for the Q&A. Needless to say, we have escalation there. In Canada, Anita Anand, Foreign Affairs Minister, because of that drone incursion into Poland, here, let me show you, summoned the Russian ambassador. Right there. Canada summoned Russian ambassador for drone incursion. And they reprimanded the Russian ambassador because of this incident. It says here, Russia and its close associate Belarus have suggested the incursions may have been a mistake caused by network jamming. But NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says it was still a reckless act regardless of intent. Anand says she spoke with Rutte this morning and said Canada is willing to help however it can with a new operation aimed at shoring up defenses along the alliance's eastern flank. And we don't know if those drones were sent into Polish airspace intentionally, but 19 of them suggests that it probably was intentional. As soon as it happened, I did hear some Russian commentators and officials being interviewed, even on Western media, saying, "Oh no, it was Ukraine's fault. It's all Ukraine's fault. All those drones, those Russian drones, yeah, it's because of Ukraine. That's why they went into Poland." That excuse is wearing a little thin, frankly. Just a little bit. Here's social media posting on all of this activity along the Belarusian border. And again, the reason I'm paying attention to this and giving this so much time tonight is because it does seem that this is very, very serious. If this goes sideways, we're in deep doo-doo. This has the potential to spark World War III. Mario Naufel posting, NATO moves fast as Russia starts nuclear war drills. NATO launched Operation Eastern Sentry Friday after Russian drones violated Polish airspace, with allies including the UK, France, Denmark, and Germany deploying forces. NATO Chief Mark Rutte called Moscow's actions reckless and unacceptable. We heard all of that. Trump says his patience with Putin is running out fast and ended at tough sanctions, while Macron sent Rafale jets to Poland, and NATO commanders pledged to stay on guard. And maps showing, and a big diagram with a bunch of arrows and stuff on it. Bottom line is, it's escalation, folks. Regardless of what the arrows point at or what they're showing you there, the fact that they're amassing all these troops and they're squaring off against each other, even as Russia is calling it a drill, it does not look good. You've got two huge forces amassed on a border like that. It's not good. Back in Canada, some people are upset because Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta, seems to be getting along with Mark Carney. And people are like, no, we have to break the country up. Danielle Smith can't be friendly with the Prime Minister. Right here. Raving reviews from Danielle Smith after the meeting with Mark Carney. From Kirk Lubimov, I don't think he's that upset. Or is he? Quote, my meeting with the Prime Minister was about as encouraging as any meeting she met with him yesterday I've had with the federal government in a long time. I think he really understands the issues we put on the table, and I'll just ask people to be patient. No pipelines, announced projects. And then this is Kirk Lubimov, by the way, commenting here, I believe. He says, no pipelines announced, projects that have been already announced, and flirting with removing emissions caps to force Alberta and our companies to invest in pointless carbon capture projects as a wealth transfer. What is there to be patient about? I think the audio on this, but I'll let you.
My meeting with the Prime Minister was about as encouraging as any meeting I've had with the federal government in a long time. I think he really understands the issues that we've put on the table, and we're working through how to address them. I've talked about the grand bargain, and it really has three elements to it. I want to see, of course, a pipeline to the BC coast, the Pathways project, and also some of the bad laws that are impacting the investment climate. And so it's taking us a little bit of time to work through that, but we're making great progress. And I would just ask people to be patient. I mean, we went from having chased away, $500 billion worth of investment over the last 10 years. You can't turn that around immediately.
Sorry about the low audio there again. Some of these clips are just coming in that way. Yeah, and I've seen some other posts responding to what she said, saying, if you think that she's going to do a good job and help us separate from Canada, you've got another thing coming. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what it is. Some people really like this, the breakaway from Canada group. They are very disappointed in their premier out there in Alberta, because she had some, I guess, favorable things to say about Mark Carney, because yesterday, of course, he announced his or detailed in more specific terms his major projects strategy, LNG projects, and other major things, the carbon capture thing, wind, a bunch of other energy projects, nuclear. Now, back to the Charlie Kirk story. Controversy surrounding a proposal to have his body lie in state at the Capitol building. Let me just take a brief break. We're going to come back. We'll touch on that, and then we're going to segue into tonight's Maverick Midnight Matinee feature presentation, Red Planet Bars.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. So controversy surrounding a proposal or a resolution from Nancy Mace saying, here, I'll show you. Right there. we will be introducing a resolution authorizing Charlie Kirk to lie in honor in the Capitol Rotunda. Should the Kirk family wish for him to be honored there, Charlie Kirk devoted his life to defending the freedoms defining our nation. He inspired millions, led countless souls to Christ, and never wavered in defense of the First Amendment. Such a legacy makes him uniquely worthy of this distinction. Some people disagreeing. Let me find my notes on this. Hang on, I've lost my tab and I need a moment. I'll be right back.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, so we're back. So this is sparking controversy. And yeah, I mean, it's controversial because it's unusual. And that's because Charlie Kirk is a civilian. And for Kirk to lie in state at the Capitol Rotunda after being assassinated or killed, yeah, he's a political figure, a political activist, as I've pointed out, but he is a private citizen, not a government official, not a military leader. So lying in state refers to the ceremonial placement of a casket in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. That's the circular space under the Capitol Dome where public viewing and tribute can take place. It's typically reserved, though, for current or former federal officials, presidents, members of Congress, Supreme Court justices, or military leaders. For private citizens, the term is lying in honor, but the ceremony and location are identical. No formal law dictating eligibility, but approval does require a concurrent resolution from both the House and Senate, where leadership approval and the family must consent. And the architect of the Capitol coordinates logistics, including public viewing hours, which is often for 1 or 2 days. And the casket rests on a place which was originally built for Abraham Lincoln. So since the tradition began with Senator Henry Clay in 1852, and I looked this stuff up earlier today, about 40 individuals have been honored in this manner. Most, though, are government or military figures. 13 presidents, including Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, senators like John McCain, General Douglas MacArthur. Only 4 private citizens have been laid in honor in this manner. Rosa Parks, who was a civil rights icon. Billy Graham, evangelist. Aretha Franklin, singer, cultural figure, though that was in Detroit, not actually in the Rotunda. And Officer Jacob Chestnut and Detective John Gibson. They were the Capitol Police officers who we're told were killed in the line of duty back in 1998, the first in honor case. So private citizens like activists or influencers, this is very unusual because the honor emphasizes national service over popularity or political influence. So for comparison, even figures like civil rights leader like John Lewis, a congressman or Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court justice, received it due to their official roles. So would it be unusual for Charlie Kirk? Yeah. Kirk was not an elected official, a judge, or a military officer. He was a nonprofit founder, speaker, media personality. He was focused on conservative youth political activism. And yeah, very influential. But his work doesn't really align with traditional eminent citizen criteria like Rosa Parks' role in the civil rights movement or Graham's global religious impact. How you view Charlie Kirk, I think, depends in this case very much on your political views. And I guess you could make a similar argument even to Rosa Parks if you wanted to view it in that way. Because not everybody was in favor of the kind of rights that Rosa Parks fought for, even human rights, equal rights, regardless of skin color. Some people are opposed to that, especially today with the rise in racism, which is very evident to me, and the increasing use of the N-word, by the way, which I've taken note of, unfortunately. Rick, you're just not racist enough. So this is what's fueling the debate on this. We'll see what happens. So it's unusual, or would be unusual, because of Kirk's non-official status and the limited historical precedents for private citizens and the ongoing congressional efforts in this regard. Its high-profile legacy makes it a possibility, and I think it might actually happen because this, I think the reason is probably going to happen is because it's so political, and you're seeing, the full weight of the White House lining up behind this. So my guess is this is actually going to happen. It doesn't bother me, but I understand why some people are like, wait a minute, it's not appropriate. So I see both sides of the argument, which gets me into a lot of trouble these days because I kind of see all sides of issues, but I'm trained to do that as a journalist. So here's yeah, I'm not gonna hang on. This computer is like so sluggish. I'm not gonna run that. Too worried about the copyright stuff. So let's kind of wrap this whole discussion on Charlie Kirk up here tonight so we can get into our Maverick Midnight Matinee. And speaking of politics and the politicization of the Charlie Kirk killing, and how could it be anything other than political, given that he was an entirely political figure? Here's the Truth Social feed from Trump today, and this is what he posted. That's on Trump's Truth Social feed tonight. Let's go up here. And now I'm going to pivot back to this clip that I've been saving for the end of this discussion. As I've been saying, what if they had a war, especially a war where they're trying to get everybody fighting in the streets, and nobody showed up? Pretty clear to me that we're all being manipulated by various actors, governments, political groups, maybe even the social media companies themselves. We don't really know. And I think we all need to be very careful. Trying to keep our heads screwed on straight. And a young man who knew Tyler Robinson posted a video on social media today that really drove this point home for me. And it really reinforced what I've been saying and what, my view on this. Social media, very, very dangerous place right now. Social media, I think, radicalizing people, possibly even Tyler Robinson, driving some people crazy, maybe even like DeCarlos Brown, who said that there was stuff in his body, maybe graphene oxide in his mind, but said there was stuff in his body that was controlling him and made him kill Irina Zarutska, the Ukrainian refugee who fled Ukraine to get away from the war, going to Charlotte, North Carolina, only to be murdered on public transit by Carlos Brown, who says it was the things in my body that made me do it. Wasn't me. There's something going on in the guy's head, obviously. Well, a lot of people are saying it's racially motivated. Maybe if he believes, maybe it's not racially motivated. Maybe the guy's has been driven insane, mentally unstable to begin with, maybe on drugs, exposed to social media, and maybe even targeted social media for that matter, even maybe unintentionally targeted, because the algorithms put us into echo chambers. Don't forget that. And if he's watching stuff that's literally driving him crazy, if he's really watching stuff that makes him believe that he's been injected or somehow that he's ingested nanoparticles or something into his body, and a lot of people actually believe that that's the case. You think about it, a lot of people believe that. And I don't believe it's true. And then if the 5G comes on, then it activates, and then I've got no control over what I'm doing. He could be just insane that way, and it could have been social media that drove him crazy. Whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be. It's not even necessarily MK Ultra mind control level conspiracy stuff. It's just that we're all influenced by what these influencers, literally called influencers, including myself. You can put me in that camp if you want to. They're trying to convince you to do things, to take action, to support this, support that, or choose a side. Pick a side. It's time. This is war. If now or never, it's always now or never. Until the next time. This is the war to end all wars, the Great War, the World War I. The war to end all wars that never ended anything. World War II, the big one. It never ended. We're still in it. I've said that even a long time ago. These wars don't end. The conflict never actually ends. We were spoiled for a long time. We lived through the peace dividend because we lived under the nuclear umbrella for so long. But now everything has changed. And I think we are having a real hard time recognizing or seeing what's going on because we haven't lived through any of that, especially here in North America. So as we're being exposed to this 5th generation warfare, make no mistake, we are at war. I have no doubt of that. But the enemy probably isn't the enemy that we think it is, because this is really sophisticated stuff. This has never been done before. Not like this. This is information warfare primarily at this point. And we're being messed with. Both sides. Strange things. Strange things. You know, I wasn't going to run this, but I think I will. If I can find it here. Maybe I have it. Maybe I don't. If I have it, I'll run it. Because some people that you would think would be very upset about Charlie Kirk being killed are actually coming out and they are happy about it. Let me see if I can find it. I think I lost it. Very powerful stuff and very distasteful. Let me see if I can find it for you. It really illustrates my point. Here we go. I think I've got it. Yep. And this just shows the division, the stupidity, the racism, all on display in one fell swoop. This really makes me nauseous and worried for all of us. I hesitate to run it because some people I think out there might say, yeah, I agree. I think it's gross. All of this. This guy here saying on this episode of, excuse my language, dumb fucks, Chris Sky goes off boasting he's happy Charlie Kirk was murdered. And why is the dumb fuckery going on? You say pro-Palestine is the good people, the same FCKN people that burned Canadian flags saying death to Canadians. GFY, Chris. I'll run a little bit of it. I probably won't run the whole thing. Let me run it. And it's, you know, you think Chris Sky would be sort of like conservative guy, right? What, yeah, get out there. No, he's actually on the other side. And this is why it's not black and white. What side you going to fight on? Pick a side. Which side? What do you stand for?
Listen up, everybody. Let's get one thing fucking straight. For all you people that are saying,
yeah, language alert. Sorry.
This guy, how dare you be smiling when another human being got shot? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but we are at war right now. And there's two sides. There's the side of good, aka the side of pro-Palestine, the side of release the Epstein files, the side of let's have truth, justice, and honor and no corruption reign supreme across the world. And then there's the side of pro-pedophiles, pro-genocide, pro-corruption, pro-lying. It's that fucking simple. There's no, I'm sitting on the fence or I'm undecided. No, if you're on the fence, you're on the side of the fucking pedophiles. And guess what? If you're on the side of pedophiles, you're on the side of Epstein was a hoax. You're on the side of Israel is the victim and they're not committing genocide in Gaza. And you're getting paid to disseminate this bullshit. And then I see a video of you getting shot in the fucking neck or shot in the fucking face. Guess what? I'm going to smile every fucking time. I'm not going to be the one to pull the trigger. I'm not going to be the one to tell somebody else to go and fucking shoot them. But guess what? If I see a video tomorrow of somebody shot fucking Anthony Fauci or Bill Gates, you think I'm going to cry for them? Or you think I'm going to smile and say, good riddance, karma gotcha? If I find out that Benjamin Netanyahu got shot in the face tomorrow, I'll fucking hook up with some other people and make a goddamn TikTok like they did during the pandemic at the healthcare workers and dance for all of you. That's how happy I would be. So for you guys to sit there and fuck.
All right. That's not leadership. I don't have to pick a side. Not those sides. Don't have to. It's all bad. It's all bad. That's not, I don't stand for that, and I don't stand for that. So not going to go, not going to participate. I'll do other things. I'll do something different. Not that, and I'm not doing that. You do what you want. I'm going to pick a different path. And anybody that sticks around over here, maybe we can figure out what path that can be together. But it sure as hell isn't that. And it sure as hell isn't that. I want something better. So this man went to high school with Tyler Robinson. And he says he was a Reddit kid. I'm not sure what that means. Probably kind of, soft maybe. I don't know. I don't spend any time on Reddit. I guess Reddit must be what sort of progressive? Don't know. Woke? Maybe somebody, some people might, maybe that's what they mean. I don't know. I'm not on Reddit. According to this man, though, this young man, Robinson probably spent a lot of time online and may have done what he maybe stupidly did to impress his friends or whatever. But he talks here, and this young man, I thought when I first came across this that it would be something really negative, but in the end, he kind of makes sense to me. Maybe he'll make sense to you too.
I went to school with this Tyler Robinson kid. I'll show y'all. That's him right there, Tyler Robinson. I'm not trying to like clout chase, make this shit about me, but I'm not gonna say I knew this kid really well. I didn't know him very well at all, but I definitely saw him for like 3 straight years in high school. And the best way I could describe him is just like a Reddit kid. I don't know, I feel like if you were in high school around that same time, and even probably now, like 2018, and then like, those kinds of kids, but that's exactly what he was. All I'm gonna say is this is the kind of shit that happens when you spend way too much time online, and all of a sudden your beliefs are all the way this way or all the way this way, and you do some dramatic shit to please these people that are not your friends. This internet shit is seriously no joke.
Yeah, it's seriously no joke. Seriously no joke. I would say keep your head screwed on straight. I had somebody else message me today. I won't tell you who it is. I want to keep confidence here. Let me just read you this. See if I can find it. Yeah, so just this person, worried because but the politics, all the money going into politics, and then the what seems to be disingenuous behavior with President Trump and the tech giants at that dinner, and they don't know what's real anymore, I guess. And I said, shouldn't worry too much. The internet is pretty toxic and hard to know what's true there. Go hug a tree. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be okay. Don't know how, but we're going to make it because we have choice. And it doesn't have to be. People tend to think of things in black and white, right versus wrong, left versus right. Nah, or pick a side. Doesn't mean side A or side B. There can be other choices. Lots and lots of other choices. And I hope that we all choose wisely in the days, weeks, months, and maybe years ahead. Pray for peace. We're going to be back in a moment with our Maverick Midnight Matinee feature for the night, Red Planet Mars. So as a prelude to that, I'll leave you with this Maverick News broadcast with an appropriate song. Just a reminder that if you want to stay with us for Maverick Midnight Matinee, you have to jump off YouTube and join us over on one of our other platforms. Not YouTube. We don't run Maverick Midnight Matinee there. Join us over on Rumble or BitChute or Twitch or where else are we running tonight? X, we're on there. Just a bunch of them. We're all over the darn place these days. Oh yeah, DLive, we're over there too. And if you don't stick around with us, I can only say for Maverick Midnight Matinee, thank you for your time tonight and for being part of our Maverick family. Here's Maverick and the News Brothers and MAGA Mars, and I'll be back right after this with Maverick Midnight Matinee, Red Planet Mars.
he's got a plan. It's bold and grand, taking over land. Sea and sand, Canada's ours. Greenland's in the mix. The Panama Canal's just another fix. But Mars, oh Mars, you pesky red sphere, your spying drones are making it clear. It's a threat to Earth, a cosmic sin. But don't worry, folks, he'll make Mars great again. MAGA Mars, you're the 53rd state. Under Trump, your future is great. With Elon Musk and the Space Force too, we're slapping tariffs on your Martian crew. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. We'll impose sanctions, taxes, and fines. Martian exports, know they're crossing the line. The Martians cry foul, but Trump doesn't care. He'll build a space wall floating up there. Elon's on board with rockets ablaze. The stock market's loving this Martian craze. He says, trust me folks, I know the deal. Martian gold is ours, this plan is real. MAGA Mars, you're the 53rd state. Under Trump, your future is great. With Elon Musk and the Space Force too, we're slapping tariffs on your Martian crew. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. Yeah, Mars hotels with golf resorts, intergalactic trade reports, a MAGA dome where Martians bow. We've got the best Martians, Trump says now. Fake news claims the plan's absurd, but Trump tweets back, it's the final word. Martian drones not on my watch. Space Force ready to kick it up a notch. MAGA Mars, you're the 53rd state. Under Trump, your future is great. With Elon Musk and the Space Force too, we're slapping tariffs on your Martian crew. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. So buckle up for the Martian fight. Trump's taking over the Martian night. It's all for freedom, it's all for the win. Oh, say can you see, he'll make Mars great again.